Alright, let's create another shape. This time we're going to create a cylinder. When we make a cylinder, we're going to start with 3 parallel vertical lines. 3 parallel vertical lines that are the same length. So what I've done is I've placed my ruler on the paper, and I recommend that you use your ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my line 2 inches long, so I'm going to go from the number 3 to the number 5 for every line. So I'm going to go 3 to 5. Now this is going to be the center line. What artists call that is the plumb line. That's the center line. Now the plumb line is going to help us create the center, so I'm going to make it just a smidge longer than the other lines. Okay, so I lightly made it a little bit longer. Now I need to make it evenly spaced. So look what I'm doing with my ruler. I'm putting my ruler on the 1 inch, and I'm going to make my cylinder 2 inches wide. So I'm going to go 2 inches over here. So I measured 1 inch from the center, and then 1 inch from the edge. Okay, so now I have a center line, and then I have 2 little dots. So I'm going to put my ruler back at the top of the page, and then remember before, I measured from 3 to 5, so I made a vertical line from 3 to 5. I'm going to slide my ruler over again. I'm going to go from 3 to 5 again. Now if your ruler is crooked, just line it up with the edge of your paper. Okay. There's my pencil line, 3 to 5, lightly. Okay, so now I'm going to make this cylinder. My cylinder is going to be a little short and stout. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make an oval at the top and the bottom. Now to make the oval, what I do is I make a bunch of ovals, and then eventually I fall upon the oval that I like. So I do that at the top, and you'll notice that the center line is the highest point of the oval. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Here we go. So now we have the bottom. Now the shape that we're creating is going to be not transparent like this, meaning we would not see the inside, like as if it was a glass. If it was a glass, you would see that line on the inside. For example, here's a nice cylinder shape. Because this is transparent, I can see this back inside. Okay, but what we're drawing is a cylinder that is not transparent, more like this flower pot, so you don't see that back line. Okay? Because we don't see that back line, we're going to do some erasing. The first thing we're going to erase is that curved line in the back. We don't need it. We don't need our plumb line anymore because it serves the purpose of centering our object, so we're going to erase that. We do need the entire oval on the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to follow my many cylinder lines and just make one. I'm going to go in and give this a really nice erase, kind of clean it up. There we go. Clean this all up. And now I have a nice bottom. I'm going to do the same thing on the top here. I'm just going a little darker, and I'm following the best of all the lines. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the top. See, this is a curve here. Should be a tight cylinder. I'm going to make mine a little shorter. And a curve there. So these corners, should almost not say corners, are curved. Now let's do the next part. Okay, for the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to add the shading. Okay, so we're going to light from the right, just like we did on all of our shapes. So lighting from the right means we have the sunshine over here. Okay, sunshine's on this side. So that would make this strip the darkest. And then we go a little bit lighter for this column, a little bit lighter here, a little bit this go here, excuse me. This would be a little smidge section. Okay, so what this is going to be is the white section. This is going to be the dark gray. Let me put a little dark gray, DG, medium gray, light gray. This would be white, and because this is a corner, it's kind of turning the corner. It's not getting as much sunlight. We're going to make that a light gray. Okay, so just with your pencil, apply a light pencil application. I'm going to use my pencil like barely grazing the paper to kind of blend that out. And then we're going to use the cheapest tool in the art room in just a second to blend it. Perfection. Okay, I'm going to do not the whole thing just to save a little time, but down here, I'm going to apply my light gray application. I'm not leaving any white space, I'm just using my pencil very lightly. And then I'm just going to go outside the line just ever so slightly, but when I do, I'm like barely touching the paper. Now I'm going to do my medium. So what I can do is the light gray application just a couple of times. If I do light gray over light gray, it's like extra coats. You can see it comes out darker. And then I can like kind of smear the lines where they meet. The last section is dark. So super duper dark. Okay? And then you would do the same. You would take your finger, blend them. Whenever you're blending, it's the best to have control over it by just doing little tiny up and down strokes. The last portion is going to be the top, and the top is going to be very similar to the sphere. What we're going to do is we're going to make like little crescent moons. So where it was the darkest, I'm going to make a little moon. Where it was medium, I'm going to make a little moon. Where it was the light, I'm going to make the moon. And then on the other side, look at that. It's going to make the moon but the other direction. So that is going to be a little whisper of light. And then this bigger section is going to be light. My pencil value for light is lighter than my curve lines that I created. So what I'm going to do is just lighten that up. Now I'm going to follow curve line here. Medium, 2 applications of the light, or just pressing a little harder, and then the last section is dark, like that. Okay, so there you have it. So what we did is we created 3 parallel vertical lines. We added an ellipse on the top and the bottom. We erased what we saw behind, right, because we don't need that. And then we broke our ellipse up into these vertical lines for different quadrants. We started with the light gray, then we have a section of white, light gray again, medium gray, dark gray, and that's because the sun is on this side. And then on the top, we made it more like a sphere, where it was in moon shapes. And then you're going to blend with your finger, and whenever you blend with your finger, use those little teeny strokes because you'll get better control on your blending.